Good afternoon. This is Mark Harrison with Sewer Line Check Professionals. I'm here at 6637 Bevis Avenue in Van Nuys, and I am preparing to perform a video examination of the main sewer line for Brian and Allison Mason. Now, the main sewer line is the portion of the waste drainage piping that is exterior to the structure. It lies underground and connects the building drain line systems to the public sewer. The building drain line systems then are the portion of the waste drainage piping that would be underneath or interior to the structures. Our examination today is not focused on the building drain line systems, so if further evaluation is desired regarding those building drain line systems, a licensed plumbing contractor should be contacted, or a specialty building drain line video examination can be set up through our office. So I am going to be performing my examination today from this 3-inch cleanout access we found here, basically backed by the garage conversion on the right side, just down and to the right of this little sink area here. And what this is going to do, this is going to drop us into the main line, and we're going to kind of run across over to the far right side of the house and then down that right side of the house to connect up to an original pipe. Now as we drop in here, you're going to see we're underwater. Basically this pipe is completely full at this point. And then you see kind of a jagged end here. Looks like we've got a shifted or broken fitting right here as we make this first 45-degree turn. And I have a hard time getting the camera over this. There it goes. And then we're pushing through a pipe that's basically full of water until we get out, maybe about 10 feet or so from the structure. Now, what's occurring here is the line is it's been run uphill essentially for the first 10 feet or so, and this is not uncommon when you've got two different structures that are on basically different elevations. You got one structure, the original structure, that's raised up off of the grade, and then you've got a garage conversion or guest area that's on grade or a slab. And when you're trying to connect an on-grade structure over to an existing raised foundation, typically you're not going to get the standard fall of 1/4 inch per foot of pipe run. So the correct thing to do in this case might be to go ahead and consider installing a sewage ejection system. This is basically a pit that has a pump in it that pumps the waste and water and drainage to the point that it can then drain normally by gravity. Once you get past that point, it is draining now normally, at least it's sloped properly. You're already at least 4 inches out of grade in that first 10 feet, so you may not be able to get the fall. About 25 feet in here, as we 45 and run across the backyard towards the right side, rear right corner of the structure, we are seeing a break along the top of that pipe. A broken section right here just before that joint. So this is definitely a damaged piece of pipe here. That crack continues along the bottom, as you can see right here. Alright, so coming around another turn, we're going to be running essentially straight up the right side of the main house now. And we will tie into an existing or an older original pipe. I'm guessing this addition was probably done maybe sometime in the 60s. 70s, something like that, just based on the piping materials used. Alright, so right here at about 50 feet we're tying into the old original cast iron pipe. You see the water coming in from the right side. This is the single drain line that comes out of the main structure. We're going to run a couple feet and change back into a clay pipe. So it looks like the main house has a combination of some older original and some more modern materials. Those original materials being the cast iron like we're seeing here, pretty heavily deteriorated, definitely ending nearing the end of their useful service life. So I would suggest maybe looking into what piping is under the house and what else might need to be upgraded when this section here fails. Alright, so we're going back to the clay now, and we're going to see a few sections here. If you look at the top of the pipe, you're seeing that there is a hole, and you can see one just further ahead, and then I think there's a third one. It was common practice that when the pipes were shipped to the job site, if there was any damage to a section of pipe, that hole or damage was placed at the top of the pipe, and then that pipe was wrapped with a metal type of wrapping. So here's the second one here. Eventually that metal will rot away and start allowing soil and roots enter in through those holes. So it's no longer a common practice or considered a repair. It's something that will need to get fixed at some point. I believe this one here, you can see some, looks like this section of pipe might be starting to crack as well. So you're really just looking at another short section here that's going to need to be upgraded at some point. Alright, so continuing along past or beyond that, now we're pipe's cleaned up pretty good. It's draining out satisfactorily at this point. And this is really what the original clay pipe is supposed to look like. It's actually in pretty good shape here from this point. There's another one of those small holes along the top there. Now, I see what we've got here is there's an opening at the top of the pipe. It looks like there might be another clean out right here. This line from this guest structure is in excess of 100 and 150 feet or so, so splitting this thing up into with two accesses would be a good idea. Main sewer line cleanouts are required after every 100 feet of pipe run. So we're at about 90 feet now. It'd be a good idea to get one of these exposed. I saw another one just up ahead of us. When I located that, it was underneath the concrete there at the front right corner of the house. I'm coming up on that right now. So that other one should be under the dirt along the right side of the house. Might be more reasonable to get that one exposed. Alright, so we're starting to see some minor roots now in the clay pipe. Now, the root intrusions in these older clay pipes at the joint areas is fairly common. It's not something that we're going to say needs to be repaired. Normally, we're suggesting that these root intrusions can be maintained with regular sewer line cleanings. It's when they're left unmaintained for extended periods that they have the potential to create blockages in the system. Also the potential to damage the pipe. So far, I'm not seeing anything of any real significant nature, nothing that I would even really dictate me recommending a cleaning at this point. These roots do not appear to be very aggressive. There's no evidence that there's been regular cleanings on the line, so it's kind of difficult to say when and how often it should be cleaned. To be on the safe side, we're usually recommending annual cleanings. So we're getting into some areas that have a little more significant root intrusion. Definitely nearing the point we would start talking about cleanings. And right here we're starting to take a little bit of a steeper downward drop towards the front of the property. And we're going to increase to a 6-inch pipe right about here. And run about another 25 feet or so to a public sewer. So this 6-inch section is the section of the system we refer to as the lateral pipe. It's the pipe that comes from the public sewer up to the property. And running under the street sidewalk, it is still the property owner's responsibility for care and maintenance or any repairs. So he does not take responsibility for these lines. They do belong to the individual property owners. This one looks to be in pretty good shape. here will be coming up on the right turn. It's going to sweep us down into our public sewer. Right here, about 157 feet, 165 feet maybe. Not quite exact on the line counter, but that's the city sewer there. So, for the most part, the line's in pretty good shape, especially the original section of the pipe, with the exception of those old pieces of pipe that were used that had damage to them. The line's pretty clean. Minor root intrusion at some of the joints, common type of conditions. The bigger concern is the first 10 feet of this guest house structure line being backgraded as much as 4 inches, possibly more. And then you got that one damaged section there just before you make the turn to run along the right side of the house. Really, the proper thing to do here might be to put an ejection system in for the guest house. Make sure that it is more to a current standard. You don't have problems with backups and blockages from debris buildup and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video portion of the examination for today. We're going to track and locate a couple of things, and we'll mark those out, like the installation or the exposure of that one clean out that we saw, and these 2 areas of damage here along this back section. This is Mark Harrison with Sewer Line Check Professionals. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.